Hi people, it's me Anja, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new recent Leagues video. The first book on this list is called One True Way. This book is a middle-grade historical fiction book and it follows a young girl named Allie who's quickly discovering that her friendship with another girl may be something more, and it's set in the 1970s. I think this story is absolutely so good. I've been actively trying to find more queer historical fiction books, and this book is exactly what I wanted it to be because it was absolutely so good. I really enjoyed the sapphic representation. I really enjoyed the added elements of like religion in this story because it just really made for a quite like emotionally touching and impactful story. You know what I mean? Like, I really enjoyed the setting, the world building, the plot, like I said, the sapphic romance. The representation in the story was so well done. I think this book is so underrated, and for what? Because it's absolutely so good. I haven't really heard a whole lot of people talk about it, but more people should talk about this story because it's absolutely so good. Even though the writing style is really quite simplistic, I think that it really made for a really emotionally touching story because I just really enjoyed it, and with that I would highly recommend it because I rated the story 4 stars. The next book on this list is called Rule of Rules, written by Leigh Bardugo. This book is YA fantasy, and if you didn't know, this is a sequel to King of Skulls, which frankly was my biggest disappointment of 2019. So I had really low expectations before going into this book because I didn't absolutely fall in love with King of Skulls the way that I really wanted to, and honestly I kept forgetting that there was a sequel coming out. But at any rate, I read this book, I enjoyed it, I liked the world building, I liked the action-packed, fast-paced plot. These characters I'm not completely like emotionally attached to the way I am to her other characters from her other books. But speaking of, I did really enjoy the cameos in this book. I'm not going to say who the cameos were because obviously I don't want to spoil this book for anybody, but the cameos in this book were probably my favorite part of this entire story. You know what I mean? So essentially, I enjoy this duology. I don't think it's absolutely amazing or like breathtaking or anything like that, because even though I do enjoy her world building and her plot, I don't completely love these books, and I feel like I can't fully say why because I feel like obviously I would spoil the entire series. So with that, I rated this book 3.5 stars because I enjoyed it. Obviously I will continue to be reading more books by Leigh Bardugo because I love her so much, but this duology is definitely her worst book series. So yeah, there's that. I gave this book 3.5 stars. The next book on this list is one of my most anticipated 2021 releases, and it is The Accidental Apprentice, written by Amanda Foody. This book is middle-grade fantasy, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. It follows a young boy who accidentally bonds with a beast and accidentally sets off on an adventure, and it's like so good. I had such high expectations for this book because Amanda Foody is one of my favorite authors, and this book definitely lived up to those expectations because it's absolutely so good. Like, I didn't realize how much I missed Amanda Foody's writing until I started reading this book, because prior to reading this book I hadn't read a book by Amanda Foody in about 6 months, I think, because Queen of Volts came out in September, I'm pretty sure. But at any rate, I am so excited for all of his villains. I know I talked about it in my last video that I'm so excited for it because Amanda Foody is truly one of my favorite authors, and this book was no exception because it's absolutely so good. I love her world building, I love the action-packed, fast-paced plot, I love her well-developed characters. They're so distinct and well-developed, and they're so wonderful and three-dimensional and so like realistic, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so excited for the sequel to this book because I have no idea what's gonna happen next, and the world building in the story is so good. Like, it's absolutely so good. I would safely say that Amanda Foody is just as good at writing middle-grade fantasy as she is writing YA fantasy. And if you guys didn't know, the Shadow Game trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies. So at any rate, this book was so good. I absolutely really enjoyed it. So with that, like I said, I gave it 4 stars, and I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Somewhere Between Bitter and Sweet. This story is a YA contemporary and follows two teens as they navigate first love and where they belong within their communities and their families. I enjoyed this book. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed the atmosphere of this story. It kind of reminded me of like a faux love story in the sense of like restaurants and like food and like all that kind of jazz. You know what I mean? Like, we love to see it. I also enjoyed the two perspectives in this story because they were both distinct and they both resulted in like well-developed characters. You know what I mean? Like, both perspectives added something new to the story and they were both so necessary and like well done. However, with that said, I felt like the romance between the two main characters wasn't as well developed and kind of like was built on almost no chemistry. Like, I didn't really ship them because I felt like there was no like romantic chemistry established between them. So like, even though I really enjoyed their characters individually, I didn't completely love them together. You know what I mean? But with that said, I would say that this is a story that I definitely think will be really, really hyped up. And I definitely agree that this story will be really, really hyped up, even though I don't like completely agree with that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but essentially I can see why this story will be very, very popular on the Bookternet, even though I gave it personally 3.5 stars. So yeah. The next book on this list is another one of my most anticipated 2021 releases, and it is The Infinity Courts, written by Akemi Bowman. If you didn't know, Akemi Bowman typically writes YA contemporary, so this one is her YA science fiction debut, and honestly it was absolutely so good. It follows a young girl named Nami. I think that's how you say her name. It's either Nami or Nami, but I've been saying Nami, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, she wakes up in the afterlife, only to discover that the afterlife has been taken over by artificial intelligence. This book was absolutely so good. I would say that I enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed Sky Hunter or something like that, because I really enjoyed the atmosphere of the story. Akemi Bowman is such a talented writer, and I knew that her writing style would be absolutely amazing, but I was kind of skeptical because sometimes when authors from one genre try out a new genre, then it's not as good, but this one was absolutely just as good as her YA contemporary stories because I just really enjoyed the atmosphere, the world building, the action-packed, fast-paced plot, the well-developed romance. Nami is such a wonderful, well-developed, distinct, three-dimensional character, and I am so excited for the sequel of this book because I know that it's going to be absolutely so good. I ended up rating this book 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. I was just so immersed in the world building and the plot and the atmosphere and the setting and the romance and the characters of this book because it was absolutely so good. So with that, I would highly recommend this book, and like I said, I am so excited for the sequel. So in conclusion, my favorite book on this list was definitely The Accidental Apprentice, and my least favorite book on this list was definitely somewhere between Bitter and Sweet. So basically, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the snail emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!